Okay, now the meeting is called to order at 10:04 a.m. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Okay, Bob Turek, Dolores,
Here.
Jacqueline Shawns.
Here.
Roland. Roland. I'm sorry.
Still answer.
Yeah, Stan Weiner. Uh, I can get your name's easy, Leroy. I can get yours, Leroy. Yep. And myself. And Mike Maturin,
Will is excused.
and Will is excused. Okay, that's it.
Got everybody?
Yeah.
All righty. I would accept a motion to move into closed session.
Okay,
Point of order. So this is a meeting, it might be a special meeting, but it's still a public meeting. We need to adopt the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
You're
that's
right.
fine. All right, we have an agenda before us. I would accept a motion to.
I'd like a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second? So properly moved in seconded. What's that?
One for roll and one.
One for each L.
Okay,
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes. I believe since this is a specially called meeting, your email to me said it was to go over some internal grievances and the grievance committee's recommendation. I think that should be the exact language on the agenda for our one and only item of business today. So that exact words go over some internal grievances and grievance committee recommendations. Now, if somebody during that point in time wants to make a motion to go into closed session, that's well within their right. We can debate that issue at that time, but we need to change that agenda as opposed to going directly into closed session. I think they're prepared to make quite a few points, so we won't even be able to go into closed session, but I think we need to change that agenda. And then I think I don't see any reason why we would not have a public comment period as we normally do.
We do at the end of the meeting.
A second one, as we always do, a first public comment period and a second public comment period.
That's up to the chair. Now, as far as your point of the motion for closed session, I was confused. Are you saying that we need to change the motion to be the exact wording that I emailed to
I don't
you?
think you could have a motion as part of your agenda. We can have the agenda, which is the one and only item we can discuss today, which is, as you said in your email, to go over some internal grievances and the grievances committee's recommendation. That should be our one and only item of business. Now, if in going over that item of business, if somebody wants to make a motion to go into closed session, that's their right, and we can debate that at that time. But the phrasing of that is not only incorrect, but non-functional.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. Because it's a internal grievance, our agency policy is that all grievances are held confidential, so it has to be in closed session. So we will have to.
I disagree, and we'll debate that when it comes to the point in time. In fact, I am well prepared to debate that.
I'm sure you
with you.
Okay, anything else on the agenda? We will strike
Yes, I
the
have a
motion to
question.
close. Yeah,
What's the reason we don't have public comment at the beginning and the end?
we
well,
never had before.
We've always had,
No, not
since you've been here.
since you've been here. We
Before it was
started,
one time.
well, since I've been here, so now why the change? That's what I'm asking.
Well, we're trying because of the weather and everything else to keep this to a not 3-hour circuit is what we're trying to do. Because public comment takes up about 40 minutes every time we do it.
Can I,
The roads are also impassable, or working their way towards being impassable now.
We have
I-
always had public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The one at the end of the meeting is fairly new, but it's always been public
public
comment
at the beginning.
at the beginning of all our board meetings.
Lenny?
may I be recognized? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I do believe that the debate should be subject to what the motion And the seconded motion would be, which would be adopting the agenda.
Right.
I believe the comments by other directors are not towards the item. And I
Your point of
believe,
order is well taken.
and I do believe that it has been moved and seconded, and that there should be a vote before a motion can be striked. So
Your
you still have
point of
something.
order is correct. Mr. Executive Director, so we have a motion on the floor. And a second, we've had our discussion
And we're debating, correct? We're debating right now
only on that point, yes.
at that point.
So,
My debate is that you have to adopt the agenda. Right now, we're voting on adopting the agenda. And your motion was to make the agenda.
yes, we actually have two
As it stands
motions. Right?
presented in front of us with no changes. So are we voting on the agenda
Well,
or
if-
voting?
If you want to amend the agenda, then we can turn down this agenda and then make a motion to amend. So right now, we have a motion on the floor to accept the agenda. It has been properly seconded. We've had discussion. Is there any other discussion? I don't think we need to have a roll call vote. All in favor of passing the agenda, aye?
I,
All opposed?
Wait,
No.
is that a roll call vote, did you say?
no roll.
No, I
It's
said
not
no roll call.
necessary. It's no money.
Unless a member requires a roll call
I
vote.
request a roll call vote.
Okay, fine. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Okay, Robert,
No, I do not accept the agenda.
okay.
Okay.
Roland,
No.
you you seconded. Okay,
No,
okay,
And he can second the motion and then vote against it.
yeah, I guess he can stand.
No.
Okay, I say yes. Mike,
I
you
don't
don't get
vote
to
unless
vote.
they're-
Dolores,
No,
okay, Jackie?
Yeah.
Okay, Leroy,
No,
how come that all way over here?
Okay.
And Will is excused,
Will
okay.
excuse. All right, the motion does not carry. So I would
Uh-huh.
entertain a motion,
To
Director Turek, to amend the agenda.
amended,
I would make a motion to amend the agenda to include a public comment period. Right, after we finish with the approval of the agenda. And followed by our one and only item of business today, which would be to. As exactly in your email, when you called this special board meeting to go over some internal grievances and the grievance committee's recommendation.
okay. Does
Okay,
anyone
so you-
second it?
So your motion is to amend the agenda to add,
Public
or
comment.
to take the motion for close that's on the agenda here off, strike it.
Both of those, as it's written right now, take both of those off.
Okay,
Put in instead of that, our one item of business, whether you want to call it new business or something else, to discuss the internal grievances and the grievance committee's recommendation.
okay,
At which time somebody can make a motion that they can want to go into closed session if they want,
okay. And then leave the rest of the agenda as
leave the
is.
rest of the agenda.
Okay, it's been properly moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, any debate? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed?
Nay, I do not think we need to have grievances in a public forum.
Okay.
Because I think it could be harmful to each one of the people that if there is a grievance against them. If it were me, I would not want everyone to know about the grievances until they were settled, because sometimes grievances change.
On that point, I would say that it is up to go into closed session. If it is a personnel matter,
Mhm.
if that is what this being considered. The goal of this meeting, internal grievances and the grievance committee's recommendation is not something that can go into closed session. Not one of the 11 allowed reasons to go into closed session.
I do
Is there
believe you are
a-
incorrect.
Is there a pending litigation? If it's a person, if the grievances against Dolores Schlicker, Director Schlicker and I are considered a personnel matter, are we considered personnel? If so, in order to go personnel matter, if it's requested by the individual, can go into closed session. So it has to be voted on. I'm not going to vote for it to go into closed session. I don't think she
no,
will.
I'm not.
So I don't think you need to be concerned about that. I think we will have a vote on whether it is considered a personnel matter, whether we even go into closed session.
All right, reading from the Open Meetings Act. From Attorney General Dana Nessel, to consider the dismissal, suspension, or
We have the page number there.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, page 10. Item number 1, to consider the dismissal, suspension, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against, or to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent if the named person requests a closed hearing. So you are correct on that, so
Where do we stand? I don't have that in front of me. That wasn't presented to me. Whatever you looked at.
every spot should have had one. It's this, the
No.
Open Meetings Handbook.
I just printed it for the
Okay,
people who are running the meeting.
I guess we have
Well, I mean,
just the,
as a,
I don't have
as a point of order, everyone's been quoting the Open Meetings Act. I figure I just bring the handbook as a quick reference tool, but I
Yeah.
do believe that the people who have a grievance requested to be in closed session to talk about their particular grievance.
Okay.
You know, this meeting of the body was supposed to be in good faith for these particular individuals to come and talk to the board, not to have a circus. This is another way of intimidation, which I think should be addressed. I choose to honor our board members, regardless if they choose to get past that same respect to the other staff by not having this in public. I believe that these matters have been investigated by the grievance committee and it warranted as such to call a special meeting. So this is why we're here, not to have an agenda, but to actually address the concerns of ACCOA staff. And yes, by the employee handbook, you are considered a volunteer of ACCOA and are subject to the policies and procedures of ACCOA. So yes, this should be a matter of great concern, not a stunt. I have 10 minutes and I'm going to take them. That we should put our better angels first. It's one thing you may not like all the things that come out of ACCOA, but at the end of the day, they're people that work here. That's what's important. And these people would like to express, get off their chest, whether it's founded or unfounded, warranted or unwarranted, and to do so in an open meeting would be detrimental to the morale, the well-being, the security of ACCOA. And with that, I yield back my time.
Next comment.
Right.
I would say if we don't abide by the Open Meetings Act handbook, we open up ourselves to an investigation by the state police.
Amen.
We have an Open Meetings Handbook for a purpose. Purpose is stated very clearly. I say let's proceed as the Open Meetings Handbook said, instead of having a different circus.
that all?
That's it.
Okay, anybody else? Yeah. Well, you've already spoken.
Everybody has to speak first.
Yes. Anybody else?
I personally, this is about me and Dr. Turek. I feel I want these people here to know what's going on. I want to see a letter, supposedly somebody got a letter of complaint against me. I have not seen a letter. I am in charge. I am the chairman of the grievance committee, which met without even telling me. So this is all new to me. I don't have anything in front of me telling me what you guys have done. And it's wrong, and it's illegal. And I've got more to say when we get into our open meeting. Or whatever.
Okay, thank you, Dolores. Is there anyone else want to make comment before Bob takes the second round? Anybody?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. No, you've already had your first turn. We gotta let
Okay.
Bob go.
Open Meetings Act provides 11 circumstances where a meeting may be closed. It may be called session called by a roll call vote of those elected and serving, the majority. Some of closed session purposes require a 2/3 of vote. Here are the 11 closed session purposes. One is personnel matters, but for personnel matters, if it's requested by the individual. I'm not requesting a closed session. If this is in your emails that you said this is about Director Schlicker and I, we are the ones that would request to go into a closed session. It would be highly detrimental to my morale to be discharged from the board without having the information presented to me in an open meeting. That would be detrimental to my morale. I have not been contacted by the grievance committee. It went straight from a grievance committee to the board. Highly irregular. I want with Director Schlicker, I want everybody to hear exactly how this came about and then what was so urgent to call a special meeting. Yeah, so I am not I will not be calling for a closed session, and as far as I can say, the Open Meetings Act is very clear. It's up to the personnel involved, which is us too, whether we wanted to go into closed session or not.
Let the record show that I did not say publicly who this was about.
Exactly.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chairperson, I have a follow-up. I guess my question would be is, do they consider themselves personnel? Under the employee handbook, there's a set process that have to be followed. That we give all employees that first they bring their concerns to the executive director. If the executive director is the subject of the concern, they can bypass the executive director and go straight to the board. Because there may be members of the board that this is the concern about, or whatever it may be, there's a sub policy that allows for a committee to be seated to investigate. So there was no impropriety, it's just following the policies and procedures laid out in the employee handbook. So I guess my continued question to be is, are you subject to policies and procedures of ACCOA? And if you're stating that you are, then those are the rules. So, and if it's not, then we'll take it from there as we see it. But with that, I yield back my time.
Yeah, and that and the grievance committee can take no action. They can only make a recommendation, which would happen in the meeting. The board is the one that would then take the action. That's just for clarification.
Who was on that committee?
The grievance committee was Jacqueline, Dan O'Connor, Will St. John, and me ex officio.
Who was the last person?
Me as an ex officio member. Non-voting member.
Now, how can Dan be on it when he is a member at large?
Anybody can be, I can appoint members of the public to a committee. And they can be a voting member of the committee. The reason that I had to change the committee, Dolores, and I think I told this to you on the phone, is because of the nature of the grievance. I couldn't have you on the committee.
But
Okay.
if it's about me, shouldn't I have been informed? Shouldn't I have been presented with the problem
That's
or
why,
the letters?
that's why we were gonna do this today.
Point of order, point of order.
I
The,
should have been informed ahead of time, before this meeting.
Mhm.
I should have seen those letters right in front of me, if in fact there is one.
the grievance committee wanted to investigate first to see if there was any there. Okay, because there was no sense in doing anything if there wasn't anything to do anything about. Oh, excuse me. I have to take this. This is my hospital call.
I think in order for any
Let's
board member
go
to
into
be,
recess.
we have to go into recess.
Yeah.
Point of order.
I can call recess without debate. We are in recess. And when my hospital calls, I jump. So regardless, next time we'll bang the gavel first though, so that everyone's happy. And soon I'll be on the transplant list. So definitely when the phone rings,
Should be, he'll be gone.
I'm anxious. Okay, so one way that we might be able to solve this,
Where are we at right now? What?
Yeah, well,
Call the. point.
Madam Secretary, but-
Where we're at.
We are, we have the first and second motion for the changing of the agenda, not accepting the agenda.
I think we're still debating the changes on the
To
agenda.
make,
Right.
I put forth a proposed agenda, we're debating.
Yes,
That was voted on.
Oh, that was voted on, you're right.
So why are we, shouldn't we be going right to public comment if we've approved?
It was
the
not
agenda?
voted on it.
It was not
Excuse me,
voted
I'm
on.
sorry.
Point of order.
Where shouldn't we be going on to comment if we approve the agenda as I proposed it?
we did not approve the agenda
We're
as you
discussing
proposed
the
it. We are
agenda.
discussing it.
Okay. All right,
It was not approved.
okay. So Bob has a motion to approve the agenda as he amended it, which was to add, that's where we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
He was explaining to me what he was, just for clarification purposes. So we're gonna remove the motion for closed session, motion for open session. We're going to add in
Public comment.
public comment at the end of the meeting, and then we're going to do to replace the motions, we were going to add in either new business or,
That's correct. I made to, right after we're done approving the agenda, then we go right to the public comment period. After the first public comment period, then we go into the only item of business today is to address the specific grievances. At which time somebody can motion to go into closed session at a time, and we will vote at that time.
okay, if
After
you,
that's done, then we have a final public.
okay,
comment.
the way I understood your was incorrect then, so I understood, because that's why I clarified at the end, is that everything else remains the same, and you said, yes, that's why I clarified, but if you meant for your vote or your motion to be that we go into public comment, that's,
Of course,
you
public
obviously are
comment.
allowed to clarify that motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Then
And
just
so then
put
you're
it-
seconding that you want public comment now?
you want public comment at the beginning of the meeting, okay. Everybody understand the motion?
So that it comes in, it should go.
So
Please,
there'll
you
be
guys,
public
like,
comment. and
seriously.
then, motion.
All right, so
All right,
just to clarify,
it should be call to order, pledge of allegiance, roll call. He's asking for public comment to go there
yeah,
because this has to be a part of the record. I
Right.
know they have some consternation over there.
we're
We're removing
eliminating
the two motions.
Yep.
Okay, and then following that, it would be the
new
grievance
business
or
or the business,
Only business nuclear here.
right,
is
The two motions,
no, not
we're
the,
eliminating the two
They-
motions,
the grievance.
the grievance, okay.
So we have the grievance.
and those were only put
and
there for
then-
the wording, by the way,
Right, so.
not as an agenda item.
So then after that, if we get to that point, we would then entertain a motion to go into open in or closed session
Whichever.
after that.
Okay.
So
All right.
that way we have that clarified for the record and clarified for a piece of paper so that this updated agenda can be attached to today's minutes.
Yeah.
And then public comment at the end
Yeah,
and
that's
adjournment.
Okay,
Do we vote?
we do have to vote on whether to accept this or whether to approve this motion, so Bob made the motion. Dan seconded, is everyone clear on the motion? What we're voting for, a yes vote would be the amended agenda as we just outlined. Okay, all in favor, aye, all opposed,
No.
motion carries, okay. Public comment.
Hi.
Well, hold on, let me,
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
gonna set my, we're limited to 2 minutes since,
2 minutes?
and so I just need to set my timer so that I'm fair to everybody.
Okay,
Public comment.
I'm gonna do something really quick first. I'm very glad you're doing that.
Point of order, address the board correcting.
I'm sorry.
What's, I'm sorry, yeah,
Addressing the board.
I know there's.
In color.
Yeah.
I want you to understand I'm Betsy Lindor from Hubbard Lake.
Yeah, he has a camera there, so you'll be videotaped.
yeah, you can just stand right where you're at, that's fine.
You're fine, Miss Betsy.
I want to point out that Bob Turek has now delayed this meeting by more than 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Does that show his support for your
responsibilities as a board. I have gone through the videotapes. And I
Ma'am.
have seen time and time again now,
Betsy,
Come closer.
Betsy, if you can just stand in the middle and just address the whole board.
I've gone through the video time and time again, see you repeatedly delaying this meeting. Doris, I have no idea what the problem is regarding your contributions. It is a frightening thing to work on, but I also asked Dr. Turing if he was responsible for ACCOA conservatives. I think that's what it is. And he said, no, absolutely not. I found 81 postings from him on that site, oddly enough, nothing to do with this issue. He says it's put on by friends of his. I just want you to weigh that in terms of what is his commitment to this board. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yeah, Craig.
Just a question, was the county board liaison notified of the meeting?
I do not believe so. Because it was still in the initial internal investigation. We wanted to bring everyone up to speed. So then we were going to talk as a group of how we wanted to proceed. And no decision can be made in a close. It was just wanted to discuss the grievance as part of our policy. So it's not our policy to involve a community liaison if it doesn't escalate. So this is still an internal matter. This is not a public matter. This is still an internal matter. Yeah.
Can I finish a minute?
Yeah, you still have a minute and
So I'll
16.
address the board directly. This is a citizen, not as commissioner. I would only ask, and Lenny, I consider him a friend of mine, but I would ask that I believe there's only one employee in the room. And that you can't reference anybody, whichever side, as a circus or anything else that could be considered somewhat demeaning. So I would ask that the board just make sure that we don't have that by your employees.
Thank you, Craig. Any others? Yes,
Basically, the same thing he said, that thought. I find it revolting that you're considering people here who are watching what you people are doing, and we are being called a circus. I find it appalling. We're not a circus. We're watching what you people do and how you do it. And all we ask it is to be done the right way. We're not the circus.
What is his?
yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, we didn't get your name.
Jim Sawinski.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I was not referencing the people as a circus. I said the meeting turns into a circus. It was the actual devolving of the meeting is what I was speaking about. No, I wasn't addressing.
My interpretation
Why?
was like,
To us.
That's because
Many
I'm-
did it
that's because I'm
twice
facing
to
you.
us. Many did it twice to us.
Okay, thank you.
are you not going to apologize?
I didn't address the people as that. Judy, you had your hand up first, I believe.
Sorry, Judy French here, so. I have been around the senior center my entire life. And so has my mom. Dolores is my mom, for any of you that don't know. If you want to look at somebody who's dedicated to the senior center and volunteers their time more than anybody at this table, it's that woman right there.
Amen.
Okay. Function to come down here and hand out boxes of food.
That's
I don't
right.
disagree with you.
That's
Her
absolutely-
dedication to this senior center is far beyond any of you at this table. And anyone else in this community. As far as the other board members, I know like Rollin and Stan put in a lot of hours also. I do want to point out that, you know, she comes down here and signs checks. It's her job to question and not sign blank. You know, it's her job
Mhm.
as a board member. My understanding is that Mr. Turek came down He looked at one bill and saved the organization $300 a month. Maybe he should look at more bills.
Thank you, Judy. I would like to comment that none of the details of these grievances has been released to the public. Or to anyone else. So I'm not really sure how you found that out. I'm not saying whether it's true or not true. But none of the details have been released to the public.
Are the subject of that particular bill.
Gary was next, I'm sorry.
Gary Van Mitchell Township. Two things. Number one, I used to be the chairman of the Alcona County Grassroots Conservatives.
Mhm.
Dr. Turek and his wife had not been part of that group. The conservative news is a whole different function from what we used to do, and we are kind of suspended right now. And number two thing, and I'm not asking you to comment back,
Mhm.
but I guess it's something I don't understand. If the grievance committee met with Dolores, when Dr. Turek was being investigated, why wasn't she on the committee then? Because at that point, I think that would have been her function. And that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. And, yes,
I'd like to, Pam Pennant, Lincoln and Spruce. I'd like to clarify the fact that due to what was printed in our wonderful local newspaper, we are not witches because we're concerned citizens does not make us witches. We don't walk around with forks and
Oh,
etc.
No, probably
Number
not.
two, we are not racist, as I was accused of being, as other people in the local Spruce Township meeting. That's all I got to say for right now.
okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Right here,
Yes,
Rich Bright, Harrisville. Understanding that this is the debate between a personnel issue or a non-personnel issue because the board members are not employees, this would then be a code of ethics violation that you're dealing with. I do have the bylaws. Please follow them as you do this today and in your meeting 72 hours, a minimum away from now. And they are still allowed to vote until such time as they are removed from the board, which requires 2/3 of a vote for you to dismiss them or punish them. Thank you very much.
no, he said you, so you get to go first.
Terry Goldstrom, Lincoln. I think the delay has been because we're not following Robert's rules, if I'm correct. So if we followed Robert's rules, this would move along quicker. Just saying.
Thank you. Rick?
Rick Diesel, Ames Township. All I want to say is, as far as is that there's nothing wrong with people questioning how you're going about things. Okay, that's my deal. I don't like this stuff. But you know what? When you look and you see changing stories, monies that don't add up, things that are being done behind the scenes, as concerned citizens, as part of this county we love, we just want to say, hey, what's going on? And I think the action of people who are saying no, like Dr. Turek and other people on the board, is saying, listen, this isn't the way it should be done. Let's question it. Let's see how we can straighten it out and let's move forward. But we just can't keep going. I think it's concerned citizens want to know how come there's this fuzziness, there's this deception, this changing stories, these monies that aren't there. I think we just need answers. And I think an open policy is what we need.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes,
Karen Charbonneau, first and foremost, Bob and Dolores have done a great job. They're taking care of how things should be done for seniors here, more so than any other board member has in the past. And I thank God for them, and I pray tell that people will, when they hear the truth, things are going to change. So I'm praying for you. God's will be done in all of this. Truth come forward. And you can make your decisions honestly. Thank you.
thank you, Karen. You can certainly tell you two are related. You look, I mean, Now, are you sisters-in-law or sisters?
Sister-in-law.
It's amazing how much you look alike to me. I always thought you were sisters. Yeah. Okay, any other comment? Any other comment? Alrighty. Thank you, and we will have a second session at the end of the meeting with 2 minutes allowed again each. Okay, so the only order of business on today's agenda then would be the grievance, internal grievances and the grievance committee report. Or the. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Would,
Is that me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, basically, based on all of the information that was provided to the grievance committee, it is the grievance committee's recommendation that there is, too many grievances, it is too volatile, there is too many emotions, and we are recommending the use of Recon, which is an organization that would be external and would do a complete and total investigation and then make the recommendation to the lawyer. And the lawyer would then disseminate all that information to the board.
I'm looking for the information right now that was sent to me as far as cost. Because I want to get it exactly right. Does anybody have that right at their fingertips? I know it's in my folder.
I don't believe I was, he didn't send it
It
to
was
me.
probably just sent to me. then.
Is there a copy of these findings for our board members?
We can certainly make copies of all of the grievance letters that were sent.
I was told that it was sent to us via email, right?
It was, well, I know it was sent to the grievance committee members.
Oh, okay,
We
so
have
just the
copies
grievance.
of the grievance letters.
No, because that wasn't the subject of this meeting. The subject of this meeting was to
Okay,
do what was suggested, not to,
right,
See
not
the
to air the
grievances.
grievance.
not the air the grievances.
I would like to see a copy of any and all letters before we proceed any further.
All right,
As would I.
Then I will go ahead and say that I move that we stop the meeting and we will pick this back up on Tuesday at our regular
No,
meeting.
we're gonna keep
This is
on,
a
we're gonna
special meeting.
continue today. If
Okay.
somebody sent a letter, they should be available.
They are, so how long are we gonna sit here?
Take
to-
2 minutes, go downstairs or wherever you gotta go to get it.
Already.
Amen.
I'm sorry.
Guys,
The
this is evolving
Yeah.
very rapidly.
Yeah, we need to stop with the crosstalk, everyone.
Are we, the motion has not been made. We're just discussing
We're discussing
Well, we asked
where, how
for,
to proceed.
the grievance committee chair gave her report
But
That
motion
was it.
hasn't been made.
for
We're
this
discussing.
grievance committee. And has made their recommendation,
To refer this.
to out,
right,
Can I speak?
yes, absolutely.
According, special meetings are supposed to be special. They're supposed to be, they're called only if something important comes up that must be dealt with before the next regular meeting. That must be dealt with. If the recommendation is to refer this out to another committee, how did this meet the qualification to be a special meeting? Why couldn't this have been taken up at our next meeting, which is less than 5 days from now?
I felt that it was an issue that was deep enough that we wanted to get it handled before the next board meeting so that we could have that kind of behind us and know where we're at. That was my feeling as chair. And I have the right to call a special meeting.
Point of order. I would like to make a motion that President Maturin recuse himself because of extreme prejudice. You want me to go on?
Sure.
When Director Turek and myself were elected to this board, before we were seated, President Maturin was going around speaking against us that there were 2 troublemakers elected to the board. and that he might possibly have to bring a gun to the meeting. I call that extreme prejudice. So I ask for your recusal in all these matters.
Well, I don't get a vote in these matters unless there's a tie, so.
No. But with the grievance board, you have input. In this meeting, you have input. I'm asking for your recusal. I'll make a motion.
Hold on. You brought me up by name. I have apologized to you for those comments.
But you made them.
I did make them. Because I felt threatened. And I'm not gonna go into why I felt threatened, because that's not for the public to know. I made that comment. I apologize to you. We were at a meeting together,
Made
the
those
three of us.
comments to public.
That comment, I didn't say why I felt threatened. Nobody in this room or in this public knows that. There's only two people that know that.
The public in this organization knows it.
Well, now, I never knew it.
Yeah, they didn't know it.
Employees that were present at the time that heard it.
I think if a motion's been made, I can second his motion and then we can continue on with the discussion of the motion, anything we need to discuss. So I would second his motion.
Well, he didn't finish his motion, so.
Oh.
So you're seconding nothing, so let's let him finish his motion.
My motion is that this board direct the president to recuse himself from this and any and all meetings concerning Dr. Turek.
I would second that motion.
I'd like to discuss. I will take my full time.
Hold on, let me get the timer.
Yeah, let's get the timer. I do believe. Once you're ready, I'll speak.
Could you speak up, please?
I will.
Please, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I do believe that it was the recommendation of the grievance committee to have a third party investigate. Therefore, the director's motion would be made moot because he is removing himself from the situation. So instead of performance, perfunctication, for the betterment of ACCOA as a group, I believe that we should have a policy that the kids don't see mommy and daddy fight. There are certain things that we can spiritedly debate. There are, I have my 10 minutes, please, point of order. Thank you.
Not a disparaging remark.
That is not a disparaging remark.
Point of order.
You are out of order.
Point of order.
Point of order.
You may call a point of order.
No one has said anyone's
He
name.
didn't call you mommy and daddy. He didn't call them mommy and daddy. It was an analogy that mommy and daddy don't fight in front of the kids. That was his point. We should be a board that is professional and unified. We don't have to all agree, certainly not. But that was his point. You may continue.
Please, I request that my time be added back. So as I was saying, it is important for us as ACCOA to conduct our business in a professional manner. And as such, I do believe the recommendation that is set forth clearly speaks to the motion that is currently on the table. So if the recommendation is that an independent party comes in and reviews everything, we could have been done, dusted. You could have had your say. You could have been interviewed. Everything could have been talked about. You could say, talk to this person, talk to that person, because an independent person would be going here. It's not the board is making any recommendation. It's not the board that's conducting an investigation. It's an independent party. So then I don't understand the motion. I don't understand that we have this conflict. And I do believe that it's important to maintain a system of integrity. You don't have to like anyone here, but we do have to work together for the betterment of this community and do so professionally. I do not understand. I don't understand this. it has devolved into mudslinging. So please, let's restore some decency and order and courteousness as we work together through potential grievances, through potential problems, through solutions. Because this is why you're here. You're here not to push forth an agenda, you're here to work together. And yes, spirited debate can happen. People can choose to disagree. That's okay. We work best when we work together. That's a principle that I think we all can stand behind, not just as humans, but Americans, people who live in this county. We may have differing views. We may have different beliefs, but at the end of the day, I can respect your opinion because I can respect you as a human being. So that's what I'm asking for, is us to recognize that when things are presented, don't object out of hand because of the person. Evaluate the merit. Not because, well, she said it, I don't want it. That puts people in bunkers. That doesn't build bridges. That destroys organizations, that destroys marriages, that destroys friendships. We have to get back to working together. Time check, please.
5 minutes.
So I ask that as we continue to talk about these things, as we continue to work through our disagreements, as we continue to evaluate what we each feel is best for ACCOA, that we will remember these things. Because despite popular opinion, I don't hate anyone here on the board. Despite popular opinion, I do have love and affection for everyone out there. You don't have to support me. You don't have to, you have to like my decisions. But I would ask for decency and respect and common courtesy, especially from those who profess to be believers, who share the same faith that I share. Love one another, just as I have loved you. Don't have to like me, but respect. Don't have to like us, but respect that we're trying to do our best. We're human, we're fallible. We put in safeguards so that we don't make the mistakes that are detrimental to the agency. Staff have voices, and we have policies and procedures that we go through to ensure that their voices are heard. Just like we have voices to clients, we have policies and procedures. The grievance committee has made a recommendation that our current policies and procedures and the current climate, as we see today, would not come to a rational decision because everyone is in their emotional mind. And if we remove emotions from the decisions, if we remove emotions, then we're able to have a clear decision. Time check again, please.
2 minutes, 54 seconds. Dolores, you'll be recognized next when Lenny's done, so you don't have to ache your arm over there. Lenny, are you done?
Oh, no, I said I would take my full 10.
Okay.
So 3 years ago, I was brought in to this organization. This organization was struggling back in 2013, 2016, and before I took over in 2019, we had to cancel services. We had no policies and procedures in place to address grievances. We had no policies and procedures in place to address employee concerns. That I'm proud of has changed. That we are successful. We're successful in providing services. We're successful in work with our staff. We're successful in having people that are engaged in this process. I welcome talk. I welcome opportunity to sit down and converse. Somebody picked up the phone the other day and asked, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Absolutely. We're approachable. But it is the board's responsibility as a member of the board that when things are of concern, that they address it in a timely manner. And it should not be a handcuff to be and provide common decency to employees who have a grievance.
1 minute, Len.
Wrap it up. So my final thought on this is that do what's best for ACCOA, not what's best, what looks good, what is right, what is might be justifiable, because those ways may consider and they may be right, but in the way it would be destruction. Please make decisions based on what's best for ACCOA, not an agenda, not because of anything other than what is best for ACCOA and its staff, its employees, its volunteers.
10 seconds.
Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Before I recognize Dolores, I saw some confused looks when we were talking about times up here. The board members all have 10 minutes each to debate, not 2 minutes. It's the public comment that's 2 minutes, just so that everyone's aware.
We get another 10 minutes. after
And
the
then,
second round.
yes, and then after every board member who wishes to use their 10 minutes speaks, then each board member gets another 10 minutes, just so that you're aware.
My question is he a board?
No.
But he's also part of the debate.
He's not a board member.
Dolores.
You're out of order. Dolores, you have 10 minutes.
Well, first of all, Lenny, you were not here in 2019. You were hired January the 2nd of 2020 was your start date. But you talk about building bridges. Don't tear these bridges down. We got to build them. Then why on earth would you encourage your staff to write letters condemning me? And why just yesterday would you sit at the table at lunchtime and condemn me and encourage your staff to do the same thing? Listen to them. Oh, well, she did that. Oh, yeah, well, write a letter to the board. And well, I want to get to the point that we're here. Where is this letter, these letters, whatever you have? Why haven't I seen them? If this is about me and Dr. Turek, where is the letters that you say you have? I want them in black and white. I want them on a piece of paper. I don't want text messages. I want to see what you have that's supposedly condemning me. A grievance letter against me. And why wasn't I informed of your grievance meeting? Maybe if it was about me, I still should have been informed about it. I think everybody has heard Dr. Phil say, I don't care how flat you make a pancake, it's got two sides. So you got all this information and you listened to this side. Did anybody on the grievance board?
Without recess.
Lenny, could you go make copies of the letters, please? Thank you.
That was it.
That's a board member, only the board members.
So apparently the grievance board had to have a copy of these letters, right? If they exist.
Yes,
So why wasn't I given a copy of them before? Why wait till now to get them?
The board
I don't
decide,
think I think she's asking rhetorically. I'd like to let her soft talk.
yeah, that's fine.
Well, I've got a lot I want to bring up when we get to. Is this an open meeting now? Is this
Yeah.
where we're here to discuss?
Well,
No.
right now, we're actually supposedly discussing the
You can talk.
the
There's a motion on the
motion
floor right now.
that Leroy has, and we let it go down a rabbit, I let it go down a rabbit hole.
Well, first of all, I want to read a job, what the board.
Hold on. We need to deal with the motion first. Your point of order, even though you didn't say point of order, is correct. There is a motion on the floor right now that we started to debate and then it quickly devolved. My
We're
fault,
just-
my bad.
We're discussing.
We are, but we're not
putting
discussing,
limits on
we're not
what
discussing,
Somebody can talk about. 'Cause
We're not-
I think the executive director talked about things that were not directly related.
and like
to
I
the
just
public.
said, that was my fault. Okay,
And I would expect everybody else to be able to speak on that other.
if you want it to go that way, that's fine, but.
Intervention as to what is.
But normally you'd be jumping up and saying, point of order, we have to keep the discussion to the motion at hand,
Well,
but
I have.
Dolores, if you want to go, go.
The board's responsibilities. One of the responsibilities is financial management, including adoption and oversight of the annual budget. Another one, become familiar with ACCOA's finances, budget, and financial resources. Be alert to community concerns that can be addressed by ACCOA's mission, objectives, and programs. These letters, even though I haven't seen them, is complaining that I ask questions. When I come in to sign a check, and I have been told by the auditors, Stevenson's,
Mhm.
if you're gonna put your name on a check, you best know who the check is going to, how much, and why.
Sure.
So
Let me
I
interrupt you
asked,
real quickly. You're down to 5 minutes, but because we had a side discussion, I'm gonna add a minute back to that, so you've got 6 minutes.
I asked a week ago, whatever it was. I was signing checks. A girl's mileage sheet came up, says Greenbush, 49 miles. Well, that threw up a red flag, so I thought, I'm gonna ask. So I took the mileage sheet, Lenny met me at the door. You got a question, he says? Yes, I said, I do. It says Greenbush, 49 miles. That's all it said. So he says, you wait at the table, I'll ask. So he went in. I waited at the table. He came back out and he said she had 3 clients. Well, I don't care if she had 3 clients, it's still not 49 miles to Greenbush. So pretty soon she came out with a map and said, these are her 3 clients. So Rollin and I retraced the track, and it was 49 miles. But they had to go way down to Greenbush, then way out to 72, then way back over to Harrisville before coming back here. So yes, I did question that. And then am I signing a check? Amazon check, $7,000. So I'm looking at some of the receipts. Magic markers, $49, 42, I think. Then crayons, $32. So yes, I asked Lenny, what's the deal? Why are we spending $32 on crayons when you can go up to the dollar store and get this nice 24 pack of crayons for $1.25? His comment, well, these are better quality. What 6-year-old kid cares about the quality of a crayon they're coloring? It is my responsibility as a board member. Signing that check, it's my responsibility to ask questions. And if there's a check there for 20,000 or $2, if I don't understand it, I'm going to ask. And I'll finish more later. I do have more things. But right now I want to see those letters. And I want to see the minutes from the meeting they had, the grievance committee meeting. Because you have to take minutes, so I want to see them also.
I believe Will took the minutes and he's on vacation and he has not
Well,
sent them out.
I want to see those minutes.
Well, he hasn't sent them out, so I can't show them to you right now. You still have 3 minutes if you want to use it.
I'll wait and do my 3 minutes later.
Well, you got another 10, so. When we go to the second round. Anybody else? Oh, I guess we need a recess.
We need what do we need a recess for?
All right, we don't need. That's enough.
What do we need a recess for?
Because I'm tending to the business of ACCOA.
Pardon?
I am tending to the business of ACCOA.
Okay.
School just closed. I have to cancel meals for the afternoon round. I need a recess. So please, can I respectfully have a recess?
Yes, how long?
I need about. Excuse me, I need about 5 minutes. I also need to let you know, because you guys have the copies of the letters. That was not.
Right.
Well, you don't have.
I can bring them down to you.
Can I make that something that you guys need to talk to? But again, just need a quick 5-minute recess to update you on what's going on.
Okay, we stand in recess.
There's plenty of staff members that could.
I'll go take the letters down till them do them. But we weren't asking staff to do anything because grievances are supposed to be kept confidential. That's why we did it. But I'll go make that. Motion on the floor.
Yeah, let's,
Thank you. Remind me.
yeah,
Oh, I will.
yeah. I should have like. I think we are just about done.
Five days ahead of time, yeah. And
You should have.
They could care less.
You should have had.
ahead of time. Well, I'm telling you, they're close to a lawsuit.
Right, they should have been separate.
And one time she didn't. Yeah, it is, it is. And this meeting is. With all the I have to.
Oh, I thought I did. But I know one upstairs. One of them downstairs. Her sitting at the table yesterday.
Apparently, I'm not. And that was.
Right.
Yeah.
So I.
We got this whole thing going on, and I have not seen one single thing. You know,
Yeah.
a back and up.
I'm Rick Keats, my phone on the phone. How are you? Yeah, you got, get out of work.
Oh, no, I still have to. So, yeah, luckily, with the weather, I can do it, you know. Next to this thing.
They were 3 years remote now. They're gonna have to get back off.
I do direct patient care, so I have to. I'm the. I can do this.
Oh.
So, I do evaluation for building. And telehealth.
Oh, man.
I hate.
Hear that from you? With my dental provider, she's in Midland now.
I absolutely love it. Some people hate it, but I also have some good support.
We didn't have the meeting.
So do the people have to take their own blood pressure now and stuff like that?
I was.
So I have
Him and I have had this
That's
discussion.
really-
I said,
goes in and they're my hand, and I.
They're great.
I do everything. So they're hands-on, that's my internal health aid, and.
And making our conversation. Just give it a conversation. I said, this is back in October. I said, if you considered having a. Pretty healthy.
Oh.
Showing up. and doing it. I said, where's your race? Just live it.
Master's level is fine. If they
Well,
want it,
and so did-
they're not.
You know, the thing is, what I like, this would never happen at a
I know that my wife.
township meeting. Because that guy gets.
And it's like.
It's ridiculous.
We don't need all
We
that.
haven't even gotten to the conversation.
It's hard to.
It's hard to justify it.
You know, to me.
Well, he did. He
Tried to say
said.
something.
It is-
Emotion's still here.
honestly, even after
Leroy did.
I agree. Yeah, well,
I like.
it's, yeah, there's a lot of.
So like, if they were like, "Hey,
And
go back
the
to the doctor,"
bottom
I'd be
line
like, like unless someone's paying for my doctor.
So many.
Oh.
And so much.
I'm an engineer.
Oh, okay.
You know, I got asked,
And
but
more.
somebody.
I mean, I am.
Professor wanted me to
Honestly,
now.
because she
Do
doesn't.
that, I don't.
This.
It's more money.
Hire somebody, say, let's do this, do that.
Well, and I asked about that.
Sure. Yeah.
It was approved by like.
Oh,
And I was like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm not.
Well, and the problem is, what I'm saying. I want.
Here's real reason. I'd
I'd like to be at every meeting.
Yeah.
However,
She didn't want to do the nine.
they don't.
And,
They get their 2 minutes. And they, for whatever reason, decided to have, before and after.
All the public. Well, that's.
I,
You don't have to, I mean, you should have been at our. Oh, yeah. I got.
you know, I've been reading.
Ashamed of myself. I
I've been-
got all kinds of things yesterday. Bad.
So I.
I don't
Well,
care.
Robert's rules doesn't say anything. They say 800.
Sure.
And so I'm like, do it before or do it after, but don't do it twice. It's 40 minutes. every session. And so you're adding 160 minutes, you know.
Computer. Fast. This. and he needs to-
Mine wasn't done that, but
She was on.
it also, a lot of our.
That out of the way.
Get that out of the way.
We'll move on.
It's on the table.
It can really,
You know, that's what.
I didn't want to get out there. It's all a lot.
No, this is getting a little bit. You can, I mean, you can manage. You're doing 2 minutes apiece. You got
There's
10
30
people, that's 20 minutes, and then it's done, it's over. I mean, I know what you're saying. This is where just guys who spend 20 minutes talking about.
About 17.
I know it. Exactly. Yeah, well, I'm not on the side, but I am on the. It's gonna be run correctly. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So, and I do not believe you are employed.
Well, it says employees, board members and staff.
That delineates, that's 3 separate people. There's employees, there's staffs. If you guys were employees, that you would not want that. We're under a whole different.
30 years. And we all know how.
Yeah, crazy that is.
I have never seen the crap that I've seen here since I've.
On, in operating, just operations going on.
Not the operations, every time we do something,
Oh,
it's got to be stated at point of order. And it's like, in what world does that mean, you know?
yeah.
Have a reason for it, don't have, you know, and have the reason be like something wrong. You know, we don't need training on whether or not to have Robert's rules. We need to.
Mhm.
And I've said that, and I'm saying that.
Yeah,
Because these two have decided they're the professionals on Robert's rules, as has Gary.
oh, yeah, yeah. Well, so you can appoint parliamentarians as a board. And whether it's a board member or someone else, somebody in the community that would be willing to volunteer.
Yeah.
Mike could appoint them parliamentarian questions directly toward him. And that makes it something to bring up. Given our chaotic nature here, might be an idea that
You have a parliamentarian.
yeah, appoint a parliamentarian. Gary's not. Oh, no. Lots of training.
He thinks he is.
Well, you did, but doesn't mean you have to. I mean, it's up to the board.
How in fact is he really, because he cannot ever run anything, because it's always.
It's no more than anybody else. I'm not parliamentarian either. I've been on boards and you have
I've
to.
been on
So
for
I'm
years,
comfortable.
and I've been on this board.
This actually. This doesn't need a parliamentarian.
Until last night.
It's fine.
And this is kind of what he's saying. Here.
I can agree with that, although. So how?
All she had for was
I-
to appoint someone to.
Yeah, I think that got lost in the whole thing.
Well, because then everybody, well,
I don't have any idea how they're coming.
that's all she was. that's what
Nobody
she
told me.
I don't think it'd be. Well, they said, well, what do we do? Well, they want to appoint an outside party.
To.
Now,
To handle.
who's the? She probably, oh, you were on the board? You were on the?
I don't
committee?
know.
No, I'm not. But she knows who's Recon. Jacqueline, he wants to ask, who was it that we wanted to appoint as a outside committee for the grievances?
It's the same company that deals with that whole stuff. Issues that we're at the school. We're special on it.
Recon.
If you guys, I know you haven't gotten to this. Yeah. You have a school investigation. Shield. What is it? All, any.
No, it's fine. I don't ever mention, I don't even know. If you get to that point, yeah, walk by the table. just gonna say, I said,
Yeah, there's so many motion on too much.
great son.
Yeah.
Okay, I talked to the client, you know,
Anybody else?
You're right. I think it's a great idea.
So are you? Your first.
Okay, this meeting will be called back to order, please. We did have a motion, I didn't forget. We did have a motion on the table. Would you please restate your motion since it's been a
A
minute or
minute,
two?
hot minute.
Okay. My motion is to have the board remove the president, having recused himself in this meeting because of extreme prejudice.
Was seconded by Director Turret. We were having discussion until we had, just to update everyone, the Lenny had to go down because when the schools close, the center closes, therefore Lenny had to make arrangements for the meals and all of that sort of thing, and it's kind of an emergency.
Could the board not run without the executive director being done?
Everyone was complaining that he got up from table and left, so I called for stuff.
Can't do it both ways.
Yeah, can't have your cookie on two different plates. Okay, I have the copy of the grievances here. It is the policy of ACCOA that all grievance be held in confidence. So because of that policy, we can't have public discussion of the grievances. Therefore, I would entertain a motion after we vote on this motion.
a motion on the table.
I will take care of that. Thank you. After this motion is voted on, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session to cover these grievances, and I'll hand out the copies of that. We have a motion, proper second. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Oh, yes.
You have 10 minutes.
Can I be informed of who are the members of the personnel committee? Because what I have is a list of, I actually thought I was on a committee and I had it printed out at our first meeting. I come to find out I'm not even on that committee anymore, and I don't even know. So I would like to know, who is the member of the grievance committee again?
The grievance committee is now, because I had to replace Dolores on the committee,
Permanent replacement or just temporary?
temporary.
So who made the recommendation that we're discussing today? What were the members of that?
It was Jacqueline, Will St. John, and Dan O'Connor.
Okay.
And then I was there as ex officio.
Who's the member of the personnel committee?
I don't have the list in front of me of the
We do.
committees.
Would you like that? Personnel committee, Jacqueline, Director Stan, Director Jacqueline, and Director Will.
Jacqueline and Will? Again.
Jacqueline, Will, and
Stan.
Stan.
And Stan,
That's Stan. On the new building committee, who are the members there also?
are you?
Did
I
you
mean,
lose your committee members?
Is cross talking? Because it's different. I have to know. now.
Aren't you cross-talking right now?
Yeah, let's, hold on.
That is,
Enough of the crosstalk. No, I'm not. There needs to be no crosstalk here from anybody. How is this related to the motion for me to
The
recuse
motion was
myself?
that you have experienced prejudice, I think, towards Leroy and I. He brought up that you had said things about we were troublemakers, also that you were gonna have to bring a gun. I have an issue with, I think there's prejudice in how you are appointing the committees. I know Director Schlicker has said she would like to have me on the finance committee. There's possibility, there's an opening on the finance committee. We've also heard that you said, I wouldn't never put Dr. Turek on the finance committee. So that would be an issue that I would be concerned about as far as prejudice. And for instance, the grievance committee, you very easily could have put Leroy on that, but you chose not to. You chose to put Will. Will and Jacqueline together are on 3, possibly 4 committees. I think there's been bias in how you've made committees. Not to mention, before I was even put on the board, part of my job is staff development as a board, as a director. So I called one of the employees of ACCOA before I was even seated on the board, but I knew that I had been elected. And I said, hey, look, you new board member, want to get your feelings on things, want to talk about things? Never called me back. So then after our first meeting, Leroy and I sat down with you and you said, well, she came and told you that I called her. So why would that be an issue? Part of my issue is staff, my job development is staff development. Why would there be an issue that that person would run to you and say, hey, this person is trying to talk to me? And so then we found out that it has been around that the staff is not supposed to talk to Leroy and I. So I'm interested to see these letters that are supposedly from staff, because I have had, because of that environment being tainted, I've had no interaction almost with any staff member because of things that were said before I was even seated on the board. So that would go towards what I think the prejudice that the initial motion went in. It's inconceivable to me that we don't know, our Director Schlicker and I, are we being charged with a code of ethics violation or a code of conduct violation? We don't know, because the grievance committee never invited us to come talk. They made a recommendation to get a third party to come and do an evaluation. How much this is going to cost? What's the scope of it? Are they going to investigate the executive director or just us two? How much of that could have been prevented if they had called us in to the nominating or to the grievance committee ahead of time? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why that would be proceeding in that way and lead to the point where you would have to, again, make the decision to call a special meeting, which is only for things that absolutely have to be done immediately and can't be handled in the next meeting. I don't understand that. I don't understand what the cost of the recommendation they made is, how much is that going to cost? We're talking about a lawyer. How much is that going to cost? But how much of this could have been prevented if we just were able to talk to the grievance committee beforehand? At that point in time, Dolores, Director Schlicker, since unless all the grievances that I guess we've yet to see involved both her and I at the same time, she should have been able to go back on the grievance committee and handle things when we were dealing with me. It should have been 2 separate issues, unless all grievances have to do with us together. And when it comes down to grievances, and I have a stack that could choke a horse of grievances against the executive director. So why did this procedure ever get put forth to investigate the executive director? Why did the grievance committee take this extraordinary step without even involving Director Schlicker and I to make a recommendation for a third party to come and do this? Doesn't make sense. So I'll finish up right there. And then I'll speak later. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I speak to that?
Jacqueline had her hand up
Oh,
first.
okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Jacqueline.
Pam, thank you. I will just speak to some of that, and the main reason is because of your stack of grievances, as well as a stack of other grievances. There is obviously a huge division in the board. It is obvious. There is way too much emotion Anybody who would have been put on the grievance committee would have had a complaint about them by one side or the other. It is for that reason and that reason alone that we want to take it to somebody who has absolutely no skin in the game. Has absolutely no prior judgment of who you are, who anybody else is. That is why we wanted to do that, because then it takes all of the emotion, all of the preconceived notions, everything out of the game, out of the equation. Now, honestly, I was deferring to the people who had been with longer. So we had the discussion. I did not know if we were supposed to invite you guys. If that was the way that it was supposed to be, I greatly apologize. I'm still new to the board as well. However, I can see very clearly the discontent, the disconnect, and the division. And I know from personal experience that having any type of discussion, whatever I would have decided or whatever I would have recommended would have been fought. Whatever Will would have recommended would have been fought. Whatever Dan would have recommended would have been fought, because there are preconceived notions and assumptions. We decided to take all of that out of the equation. We had the discussion, we spoke to this company, they helped with a very big issue a couple years ago, and they are neutral. They would come in, do interviews, speak to everybody, and we would know more about it. Except for that, nobody wanted to move forward with that motion, so that was the whole reason, that was the whole point, is to remove all of the emotion. However, if you want a motion, we can definitely re-meet and we can emote it out. That is all, Mike. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I still, apparently excuse
Need some
me.
water.
water?
Apparently, no, thank you. Apparently, the grievance committee got a letter, several letters, whatever. I have yet to see them.
Mhm.
So if they got a letter, they're looking at this point of view. Why wasn't I informed? Why wasn't I given the letters? Why wasn't I told about any of this ahead of time?
Can I speak to
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
First of all, the grievance committee doesn't rehash what's on the grievances. They receive them, they make a decision about them. The closed session was going to discuss in private with whoever the grievances were against. Let them and give them a copy of said grievances. And then, well, this is not a closed session.
That's okay. I still want to see them.
That's fine, but I'm telling you why you didn't receive it yet. Because all they do, their function isn't to make a grievance or fix a grievance or whatever. Their function is to receive the grievance and deal with it. Whether it's having the person who has the grievance eventually come in and discuss it with them one at a time, not like an army, but one at a time or whatever. But the grievance committee felt that possibly because there has been so much rancor that we might need someone else. I think that's real straightforward and simple.
Well, if there is a grievance against me, shouldn't I be shown the grievance? I mean, does it have to be all one-sided? Are you trying to hide something from me? Are you trying to tell me that I did something wrong, but yet you're not telling me what it was?
We
If there's two
received,
sides to every story.
of
So if this
certainly,
person's got a
yeah.
grievance against me,
All right, we're having crosstalk
Yeah.
again. We,
yeah,
well, I would like my final thought, I want to, not final thought, but I want to see those letters.
Okay.
And I want to see them before we proceed.
Is this discussion still about the motion that I made?
yeah, believe it or not.
I'll speak one last time if nobody. else
Pam,
wants to.
are you done?
Well, I wasn't done, but I can be done.
Well, if you're not done, continue. I mean, you've got 8 minutes left, so.
The whole point is you will receive the letters,
When?
but the whole
No crosstalk.
You need to not keep
Okay.
interrupting
Excuse me.
because it's really, first of all, it's very unprofessional.
All right, excuse me.
We seem to have a lot of that going on, so that's no big deal. But the bottom line is the grievance committee received the grievances. They don't agree with the grievances or disagree. It's not about you having a second opinion or whatever. We receive a grievance. That's sort of like breaking an arm. We don't get to decide whether or not it's really broken. It's broken. And that's what a grievance is. And the grievance committee looks at it, examines it, and decides how to proceed from there, period. It's not, you can't then go to the person who created the grievance and start questioning them and try and make them feel like they have to change their mind. I mean, you understand how that works. It just is not the way it goes. And I think that we keep forgetting that. It's not about, oh, I'm going to side with them because that isn't true. Well, it may or may not be true, Dolores. It doesn't matter to us. What matters is somebody brought a grievance. Therefore, you'll get your chance to air your grievance, how you feel about the grievance, but you don't get to decide that their grievance was wrong. Because you get to say that didn't happen, plain and simple. And I give over the rest of mine so we can do this motion.
Okay.
If this is still about my motion, I would also like to add about prejudice that from the day Director Turek and myself were seated on the board, we have not been allowed to put one single item on the agenda. Now, according to Robert's rules that we're supposed to be going by, the president who makes the agenda is supposed to ask all the members if they have anything to go on the agenda. That has not happened a single time. I yield back.
I ask at the beginning of every meeting, does anyone have any additions or deletions from the agenda? I ask that question every meeting. It's not my fault if you don't listen.
You have failed to ask while before you make the agenda. And we have never been allowed one single item to be placed on the agenda. My point.
My answer is simple, that every item so far that I have seen to be added to the agenda is more appropriate to go to committee, not to make a 4-hour board meeting. Every question that I have, or every agenda item I have seen has been better in either the building committee or the finance committee or the personnel committee or wherever. And that's the way boards are. Where committees are supposed to do most of the legwork, then it's brought, reported, and voted on.
Might call for a vote.
Okay. We have
I'll speak also, but the director, I think wanted to speak also.
I just want everyone to be safe. The weather's not very great and we're getting vastly close to, this is just being at an impasse. So I will not speak because we don't need a second round. I believe that the director requested a call for the motion.
I think you had said we have a second round.
I did say, but then the person that made the motion just called for a vote. Is that okay with everybody, or do we want more discussion? Because like Executive Director Lenny said,
Just a minute.
it's getting bad out there. I mean, it's bad enough to call school. It's bad enough we shouldn't be sitting here. You said one round is enough, you
No,
said?
vote is good.
Okay, so just bring everyone up. The vote, since it's been a while now, the motion that Director Perrin made was that the board recuse me from this agenda item from this meeting because of this agenda item.
This meeting and all meetings concerning Director Turek.
Well, that would be,
That's all the meetings.
that's all the meeting.
that doesn't work that way.
All meetings aren't concerning Dr. Turek,
Okay, so any,
such as grievance
Such as
committees
grievance.
or
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
okay, that okay,
And
that's
that,
fine.
that's very broad. It needs to be narrowed in scope.
Yeah.
Okay. From this meeting. And from the grievance committees. Where Dr. Turek
Is the subject,
is the subject.
okay. Do you want to include you in that too, that where you are subject? I've never seen a grievance against you, but
No, I'll bring up a motion at that time if it happens.
all right. So we've been clarified on the motion. You agree with that? Okay. We better do a roll call on
You
this one.
seconded, right?
Yeah, Director
Dr.
Turek seconded.
Sure.
If you do a roll call vote. please.
Okay, Roland. Stan.
Yes.
Okay, Leroy,
Yes.
obviously, yes. Dr. Turek.
Yes.
Dolores.
Yes.
So, Jacqueline,
I'm gonna abstain.
abstain, okay. There we go. Okay,
How about you,
so you
Pam?
get to recuse yourself.
I will recuse myself.
Your vote, Pam.
Pam, what was your vote?
My vote is no. I think it's foolishness. Quite frankly, I don't, you know.
Yeah.
And I could go into why, but that's all right.
All right, I will. And it's good timing since it's
You can go
lunchtime and
home.
I haven't eaten yet and I'm diabetic, so.
Thank you. Who's
Um,
gonna do this?
Vice President is not here to take over the gavel.
So
Secretary.
It would be the secretary.
Me, okay, meeting adjourned. No,
Give me a
I'm
minute.
pretty, I
Collect
get
my
very
stuff here.
handy with the gavel, so you better, just giving you fair warning. Okay, we will go forward.
Pam,
Yes,
give me your note. And I can.
okay, you finished the number. Thank you.
That's the information on, in case we get.
Okay, Rita. Okay. I don't think we're getting there. Okay, so, thank you, Mike. Okay, we are now back to the point of, whether or not we want to motion for a closed session. To discuss matters of the internal grievance. Do I hear a motion to close the session to, decide whether or not we want to hear this internal grievance? No? Okay, motion for an open session.
I personally can say, since this concerns me, I want it all in an open session. I would make a motion to discuss if we're having any further discussion on any grievance matter, whether it's a code of ethics violation or a code of conduct. I would prefer that to be an open session.
Okay,
I'll second that.
I
so,
agree.
okay, so we make a motion to return this meeting to an open session.
well, it never went. So you wouldn't need a motion
Yeah.
because you didn't.
The rest of the motion would-
The point of order is that there was no point to go into close. So therefore you don't need a motion to go into open. Okay, so, but the agenda item,
Oh, okay, so
Madam
the-
Chairman, is
yeah.
that it violates the policies and procedures that the grievancers have the right to confidentiality.
right,
So,
right.
so, you know, that needs to be considered.
Okay, right, and that is true. If you guys probably heard the executive director, Roland, come back. But the bottom line is, if we have an open session for these grievances, then the people that brought the grievances also get a right to speak about whether or not they want an open session. It's not just those that have received a grievance against them, but it's also those, and I don't know how many it is because I've never seen it, but grievances.
So I would take a motion to table this for right now.
Yeah.
And allow both the Director Schlicker and myself to actually meet with the grievance committee, which we were not afforded that right earlier. meet with the grievance committee and see if we can get rid of some of the misunderstandings that might, if we can clear that up, we wouldn't have to get a third party to do things. I would say table it, refer it back to the grievance committee. Director Schlicker and I would be able to address that grievance committee, whether those individuals are there present or not is irrelevant to me. I want at least the chance to talk to the grievance committee. So I would make that motion to table this, send it back to the grievance committee, which
Send back.
time they will invite both of us to talk.
Anyone second the motion?
I'll support.
Okay, let's have a vote on that. Who votes? Yeah, I see that. He wandered off.
I have a question though. Where's these letters? I want them. I mean, I've only asked about 6 or 7 times already.
Yeah, we know, we know.
I can answer that. We've already discussed it, that as policy and procedure, that these are private and confidential.
No, they are not. If they're against me,
Once we
I
give
need
them
to
to
see
you
them.
at the grievance committee, then they will be. I don't know what the policy and procedure is after that, but at this current time. According to ACCOA's policies and procedures, with which we have to be maintained by, we cannot provide those to you in an open meeting. Per the policy and procedure of ACCOA.
Question?
Yes,
Question, if, according to the bylaws and such, if there's an accusation made against a board member, do they have the right to hire an attorney and the, ACCOA is gonna pay for it? So they can be instructed
I would
on how
have
to
no idea.
proceed?
I would have no idea, but I don't think so. Because we have not brought our attorney in except to make sure that we're doing things right at this time. Certainly, you know. Roland, we have on the table a motion to set aside the rest of this meeting and send it back to the grievance committee for discussion with the people who are involved in the grievances. And it has been seconded.
Did I finish my question?
By all means.
Okay.
Make
Then
it
if,
a question, not a big, long to.
um,
I gave you the answer.
well. it
I'm
doesn't-
different. I am different.
All right. So then if some people, somebody, somewhere on this board can go to the attorney and ask questions, get clarifications, then can a board member who's been accused of something go to that same attorney and get clarifications and ask questions?
I would think so.
Okay, so Director Turek and Schlicker then should be given the contact information of our attorney so they can discuss
Sure.
with the attorney.
It can be, you can't discuss it. You can ask what direction should you take?
I would think the grievance committee, when they invite us in.
We'll
that
talk
could
about
be part
that.
of the discussion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. So, do we have a vote on this meeting being tabled? And go and sent back to the grievance committee for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. That's what's happening. Good deal. So, public comment.
I have a question.
Oh.
Please. If, until this is resolved,
Yeah,
let's say I have to come in Monday morning and sign checks. And Lenny has directed the in-home service coordinator that she doesn't have to talk to me. So if Lenny's not here and I have a question on a check, who do I go to?
To me,
you can speak to Lenny about it.
If
The other
Lenny's
thing,
not here,
can I ask you this? Are you the only one that can sign checks? If you feel like that, could Rollins step in?
well, Roland could, but what difference does it make? If there's a check that,
Same way with me.
No.
if there's a check
no,
that,
it wouldn't.
that we question, if I'm questioning a check, What
Mhm.
difference does it make whether I'm asking a question or whether Roland is asking a question? Because Roland, even if I got a question on mileage, Roland can't answer it. If I go to Tony or not Tony, but Patty down there now and ask a question, she answers me. She has no problem answering me.
Well,
But
then-
he has instructed the in-home service coordinator that's in charge of the mileage, that she don't have to talk to me.
I do believe as executive director, he has the right to do that.
Who do I go to?
Let's-
Question.
Let's stop that because no one has instructed anyone not to talk to you.
Oh, really?
They answer your questions, much like we've answered your question about the letters. And it's continually 6 and 7 different times. And they've answered to the point to where they say, I don't have any more answers for you. Go see the executive director. So that is the thing. Again, I heard that you brought up that you followed, then you clocked the mileage that one of our workers. We gave you the answer. We told you that it was a sub, but you got in the car anyway and you drove it.
You told
But
us to.
no, I said if
You
you,
handed us.
I handed you a map just to validate so that you would have concrete evidence
Okay,
that you were looking for. This is the
Yes.
question. So I'm telling you, we have no problems with you asking questions within the function and scope
Okay.
of your position.
Then who do I go to then? Answer that question. That's what I,
Come to
Dolores.
me.
who do I go? to
Dolores.
If Lenny's not here.
Just call me. You have my number. You have my cell phone number.
okay, enough. We now have public comment. That should be great. Yes. Your name, please.
Hi, I'm Ty Damon. I live in Harrisville. I'm a senior.
Mhm.
I'll go right on the record. I love the new concept and I hope it happens. I know there's a lot of things that have to be answered. 501c3, do we have enough money? Sewers, police and fire.
Mhm.
Everyone on this board has fiduciary responsibility to answer all those questions and run those down.
Mhm.
So I just implore people, seek answers, run them down.
Mhm.
That's why I'm here. I do have to give an observation though.
Mhm.
And I have served on multiple not-for-profit boards. You guys need serious help with a parliamentarian. A parliamentarian doesn't have to be a board member, it can be anybody,
Mhm.
it can be someone in the community that's willing to be here for free. They sit in the back and they just whisper in a chair's ear, remember 3 things ago, we're supposed to be discussing that motion. Get things back on track.
Mhm.
They're just the person who understands Robert's Rules of Order better than the average person, keeps things on track. They don't have a dog in the fight.
Mhm.
It's very helpful.
Mhm.
So that would help.
What's your name again?
Hi, Damon.
I wrote it down.
Okay.
Secondly, I'm really frankly embarrassed of the decorum of the board. You know, people back here, you know, they have their niffs and their gnaws and, you know, pretty much we all kept our mouths shut, and did a good job. But the crosstalk, the disparaging remarks, the innuendos I'm shocked. I can agree, I can sit on a board and disagree with somebody 100%. And no matter what they say, I just go, yep. When it's my turn to talk, I'll talk. But everyone's in debates, it's wrong. So I just, I hope for the sake of the group, everybody tries to work together a little bit more efficiently. Lastly, thank you. I haven't, devoted the time you have to make this all happen. Thank you. And thanks to everybody here for caring and being here. That's it.
Gary?
Gary, just a quick observation. I've noticed that there was an extension to the last vote. Vice Chairman Johnson called me because he had noticed that had taken place in other meetings. According to the county rules, when you guys sit at that table, you have to vote either yes or no. You are to get prior board before you and ask to be abstained from a vote. You just cannot abstain from a vote. Your job as board members is to vote yes or no on the issues at hand.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes,
Jim Swinski. Listening to everybody. It's almost political. And everything's against the two new people because they're doing their jobs, they're investigating what's going on. I say 1, 2, 3, 4 people remind me of the January 6th commission. You're guilty no matter what. In everything you do, the meeting you started, the way it was set up wasn't normal. It was set up a certain way. It's like this is set up. He talks about you're having a independent company come in. Is it part of this whole thing, or is it an independent party? Has nothing to do with it. Because if it's part of this organization, then it's going to be biased. Because the way you people have set this up, everything is against these people. These people are hard workers. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Question. And when you can't question something, this is what you get, a nightmare. And from what I understand, each person that went to Lenny with a complaint, was it individually one by one? Or did he go to them and ask them all their complaints? How can someone get so many complaints by asking one question about one route? It's a setup. This is like January 6th. You're guilty. That's all I gotta say.
thank you. I will respond to that. The company that I think its name is Recon has absolutely nothing to do with Alcona County, period. They are not from Alcona County.
Was it a joint decision, or was it?
The
yours?
grievance committee brought up someone that they knew of that would handle this.
Here again, it was someone they knew. This is the problem, it's bias.
What do we do? Look in the phone book?
Look in the phone book, it's arbitration is what it's called.
Okay,
Let's arbitrate this particular.
okay.
person.
I responded to you. I didn't expect to be, we don't need to have a,
Okay,
yep, Judy.
Judy French-Harrisville. Couple of things. First of all, the meeting was not posted on the doors at all. That's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. There's numerous violations. Somebody should probably start contacting the law about that. Second, when a grievance is against somebody, they are to receive the grievance. They need to get that copy of that complaint 5 days. I think it's 5 days before a meeting on it.
Okay,
We're in a meeting. They still don't have it. It could have been discussed that they could have been handed those. You don't have to say the names of who wrote the letter. That doesn't have to come up in the public meeting, but they have a right to know.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, PM.
I would just like to say from this meeting on, and when they come in, I would really truly hope that there's not a hostile situation that they're walking into. Y'all are here talking about building bridges and working together and all this, but we're hearing and seeing that it isn't really like that. And you think a lot of stuff's been done behind that the public's not supposed to know about. I heard Mike say that a couple of times. Well, I don't know how the public found out about that. Well, people talk. So we all know that this environment is a little hostile. Even yourself, you said that. I expect that each and every person here from this day and this moment forward treats them with the respect that they would like to receive. Because it's kind of stacked against them. And I don't care if it would be Jacqueline or Stan or Leroy or Will St. John that isn't here that really could have zoomed in for this meeting, actually, being the vice president. But you all better step up. The reason why you're getting all these questions is because things aren't right. They don't add up. And the people that are asking the questions to see that they do add up are getting attacked instead of answered. And we're supposed to be working for the good of the community, the good of the seniors, the good of everything, right? Well, you're not showing it. You're talking it, but you're not walking. So that's my wish for you all.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hi, again, I'm Betsy Lindell, I live in Hubbard Lake. And I'm going to ask you to continue this meeting, even though you don't want to. I'm going to bring up something very important. I spoke to Lenny Avery, and one of the issues in this situation has been racism. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Lenny did not respond. Terry is here. What? You came to visit my house. I know we worked together with the sheriff's department on a very sensitive area as volunteers. Here are some of the comments that Terry said.
It's hearsay.
Amen. Sir, I spoke to Terry.
We're not here for that.
Guys.
Okay.
Stop. No, she can have a public comment.
Her
Address the
minutes are
board.
not up.
That has nothing to do with why we're here today.
She's addressing the board. You had your 2 minutes. Please be quiet.
That has nothing to do with why we're here today.
All right, enough.
Back up, please, ma'am. Just stay in the middle, please.
About the type of job he is doing.
It-
And shame on you, Betsy, for putting words in my mouth.
Come on, enough.
Guys,
Hey,
please.
we're not going to argue. You're not going to argue with each other.
Make her sit down.
I'm going to.
Her 2 minutes is not up because you all have been. interrupted.
The law.
Guys, just stop. She has 2 minutes. We give you
You don't
the
get to yell
opportunity.
at her for 2 minutes. She gets to speak for 2
I'm
minutes.
telling you what. You wanna raise hell on that, go ahead. There's phones here. I'll call damn sheriff, they'll come and move y'all out. I've done it before, I'll do it again. I don't give a damn how many people are here. But get that straight.
You have 1 minute
May I
left.
continue? Terry said to me, if Lenny wants to be a community activist like Obama, he should do it downstate. Terry said that deputies are afraid of the housing because of Terry, I'm so sorry.
No, you're not.
Because I'm supporting the center because deputies, there's not enough deputies here to patrol the housing. Okay. I'm so sorry to mention this, but I have said it in some letters. I've talked to people about this. You've delayed another meeting for 2 hours. And I would like people in the audience to respond to my charge if they would and say why this isn't racist. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I'll respond to you. If you look at me.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You look at us.
I'll look at all of you. I am a Christian. I am in no way, shape, or form racist. No part of me. I have talked to Lenny Avery. I have told him I'm not against him. Matter of fact, I know you all have a signed contract and you could build this building today and I would stand behind it. You have $12.5 million to do that.
That's right.
What's going on here is not right. How you've handled this is not right. This is a matter that they should be able to go to the grievance board with. I have been on a board of directors and have handled more money than everybody in this building in that corporation. You are an embarrassment to this society for doing it this way. Get it together, do what you've been called to do, and let these people get on board with that. The fight is that we have the money, we have the contract. Let's build what we can build. He's got a plan to do it. And he's not been given the opportunity to do it because we're going after 2 people that are certainly can serve on this board. I am not a racist and I object to that. And I am sorry that it even came out of her mouth. And I would suppose a lot of other people would say that.
Thank you. Terry.
Very good. Yes, I did go to her house. Yes, I did say that if Lenny wants to be a community builder, then he should, and let's put it in context, Miss Journalist, that he should get on NEMSCA or HUD to build the appropriate housing. We are building a senior center here. We are not building housing for everybody else. There is a group of people that does that. That it is in no way racist. I voted for Obama. So you're gonna call me a racist? Really? So no, that doesn't fly here. And I really resent the fact that you would take my comment out of context. But I guess that's the journalism in you coming out. No other question.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, look, Rosie.
I'd like to make a comment about Mr. Avery's comments before about being respectful and, I think that we have several letters from a lot of previous employees about the hostile environment here. And that some of those letters were written by people that had gone to the grievance committees. And they were basically like our personnel committee, excuse me, and they were like spoken to privately and nothing happened with that. And within a week later, those 4 people were gone. Yep.
Thank you. Anyone else want to have anything to say?
Right here.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes,
Lisa.
okay. Lisa Turek, Harrisville Township. In my business, pardon me, there are people that come in and talk about what's going on here and ex-employees that have been in our office. And there have been a lot of grievances in the past that have never actually made it to a grievance committee here at the ACCOA. So many years, for the past few years, we know people that have made grievances and nothing like this ever happened. There was never any committee. There was never any board meeting or a special meeting for any of these people who had grievances. So I find it very interesting that all of a sudden, if there's a grievance against 2 board members, that there's a special meeting called and the board shows up. Yet for all the employees that had grievances prior, and they've spoken to me directly, and they've been in my office, so I haven't sought them out or anything. They weren't afforded the same whatever process, I guess, when they had grievances here at the ACCOA. Secondly, I would also comment on Mr. Avery's comments about building bridges and respect, because when I came in here in September 29, excuse me, and dealt with Mr. Avery on an issue, I ended up having to make a grievance to the USDA because I was not treated with respect. I was not treated as I was building a bridge as a senior with the person who's the executive director here. So I also agree with McKinnon when he says, you know, he might be able to talk a really good story, but he isn't actually walking the walk of what he said, because I experienced it directly. I'm not speaking for anybody else but myself when I say that what he says is different than how he acts toward people. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? Karen?
Yes, first of all, when you write a check, you gotta know where the money's going. And Dolores has every reason to ask whoever the check is going to or what it's for, the reasons why. She needs to get all the reasons why. She's doing her job. And people here don't know that in the last 3 years, 17 people have quit working here. This last year, 5 people have quit. We need to know what's going on here, why people are quitting. Thank you.
Thank you. Phil?
Bill Potter, Harrisville. In the last, since 2013, this used to be a community senior citizen building that used to rent the halls. The money used to help for meals, help maintain. Then 2016, it's kind of started dwindling down, and now I'm not sure if those treadmills and all those weight machines bring in the income that a rented hall would for the community. And since 2020, prior to that, how many employees quit their job at ACCOA, which is a lot of volunteer time? I mean, it's not just a 7 to 5 job or 7 to 4 job. It is throughout your 24 hours because people need help. Now that I hear there's 17 employees so far have quit or been terminated, I'm not sure exactly what. How many of those employees have been paid for a lawsuit by this board, which is my taxpayer money? My taxpayer money goes to this senior center. How many employees that have quit have filed a lawsuit and been settled out of court? Can I get an answer to that, or? I
No,
believe,
not.
I believe there's been a couple that have been,
That really has nothing to.
well, it does too, because somebody said they wanted to keep the bridge, pardon me?
Okay, you're,
Pardon me, you guys understand me?
Guys, no, we're not gonna do
Okay,
that. We're not
okay,
gonna do
well,
that.
you said you're-
I don't care,
You said
absolutely
you're
not.
working, so
We need to have some decorum.
I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Well, don't interact, just interact with the board. You can run me up a flagpole. Focus on me. Thank you.
okay, enough.
Focus on me.
This is not a vote.
I'm just saying, focus on the board.
Okay,
Have your comments. on-
okay.
I'm dealing with a board. I'm just curious,
Okay.
the 17, has there been lawsuits filed? And have they been settled out of court with my taxpayer money? That's what this board needs to open up to. And if she has to make a check, or the county commissioners have to make a check, that could go for Meals on Wheels, that could go for a lot of things, but if we're losing so many employees, where's the common denominator? That's causing.
Okay, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank
very-
you. Okay, anyone else? Yes,
I'd like to defer my time 2 minutes to my husband, Rich.
okay, go ahead.
First, I want to apologize for my outburst. But I'd ask you to forgive me. But I will not stand for someone calling me a racist, just make that known. And this was a community center. My grandkids came and shot archery in here.
Yeah.
They had a big meal at the end. I looked forward to the day when I turned old enough to come here and play cards, to come here and meet with people my age and to do activities with them. So this has always been a community center,
Right.
as well as a senior center.
Mhm,
And as Phil said, there were lots of things that happened here,
mhm.
and I would like to see that continue. And so my comment from before stands. You have money. You have a signed contract. Why don't we get busy and do that so that the community and the seniors can have a place to go? I know some may disagree with me on that, but I believe that it's what this community needs to come
Absolutely.
together. And if we're gonna build bridges amongst people, because listen, there's one race biblically, and you know this too, Mr. Avery, as a pastor, it's the human race. There's several cultures, and we culturally should be able to get along and work together to get these things done. I would like to see those bridges built, but it's gonna take us all to do that without this infighting. And to call someone a racist is no way to start a bridge build, young lady. You disrespected me personally. I ain't that.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
What
you.
did you just say?
Guys, just stop. This is unacceptable behavior. Okay? None of you
Okay,
should even
okay.
speak. Please.
Stop.
The chair can take care of this.
Please.
Okay, I am
I make motion
adjourned.
to adjourn.
Thank you.
This is absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you, I'm on the verge of calling the cops now.
Okay,
One person gets done talking, another one. What are you doing? Wasting time when you're supposed to be out there on your way home so that you don't have
okay.
going to the
Yeah.
ditch or in an accident.
Who seconds the
I'll
motion?
second the motion.
Thank you.
No, I have. a
All in
question before
favor?
we do.
All in favor?
I didn't hear the motion.
He made a motion that we adjourn. Roland did. Leroy seconded said motion. All in favor?
Leroy seconded.
Yeah, you on it. Yep,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Is there discussion after the motion?
Yes.
We need to have a discussion. I have a question, a very important question. Am I allowed to speak?
go ahead. You're gonna speak anyway, so go ahead.
I am requesting a letter as stating why I cannot get the letters that was supposedly written, grievance letters written against me.
Okay,
I want a letter stating why the board or the grievance committee will not give me those letters.
okay. We will get you one.
I want it before I leave this building.
Okay. That probably won't happen because that's gonna be under Mike's deal, not mine. I'm just a secretary. I'm stuck here, so, sorry.
I recommend if there is a policy that's been referred to, that somebody could make a copy of that page that has said.
That we could do. That's, thank you, thank you.
ACCA
Bob.
closed right now, so
Yeah.
I'd like to get home.
Yeah.
It's-
Excuse me, but before you can entertain that motion, you need to close the public comment.
Yeah, okay. Public comment is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Jackie? Yeah, absolutely. Please be careful. Thank you so much for your attention. Be careful, be safe. Drive safe.